Right, so now we've completed everything in terms of building out components and so on. What we want to do is we want to get to this stage where we render this relevant information based on the brand. So let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, what I want to do is so in my utils folder, what I want to do is create a new file in here. And this is going to be called brand.ts like that. And this is going to be essentially a constant or an object that has all of our brands in. So Stylesphere and Bowler's Boutique, which is essentially going to render the logo, the login background. You can extend this further, but this is what we are having, and then also the name in here. So first of all, we need to create a function which is basically going to determine the current brand that we have. So export const of get active brand or current brand or whatever you want to call it. So get active brand like that. And this doesn't take an argument in this function. And we want to determine the brand based on what is in the ENV file. So let's put that in. So if process.env.nextPublicBrand is basically equal to Stylesphere, we could do that. But what we want to do is we want to use defensive programming. So let's just do undefined in here like that. So if process env of is not equal to that, then we want to throw a new error actually. So let me just bring this down here and we will throw a new error which says brand's not found or something like that. Or we can actually put a better message in, which is next public brand not set. And then otherwise, we just want to return the brand that is in the ENV like that. Because that way, if we're setting it with Vercel, which we are doing, then it's always going to return a brand. If there's not, then it will throw an error like that. So therefore, your site won't load. This is a better way because the way before that GitHub Copilot suggested, that basically said you basically need to define every brand and then you basically have a lot of if checks depending on if even if you had 10 brands, then you're gonna have to keep extending it. But this will always just basically look at the ENV next public brand and then set it from there. So that's it really. And then I need to create this brand themes type. So let me just go into types and create a new file in here called brands.ts. And I'll just bring in all of the styles, and we need a few things in here. So we need the brand theme, which is what we have. We need the brand themes, which is the key and then the brand theme. And then we also need the enum for the brand name, which is basically this here. So that makes it easier for us to kind of define the brands as well. So all we need to do now is this is a brand theme. No, it's not. It's the brand themes with an S like that. And again, we could think of better names than, that. We'll just keep it as it is for now. And now we have our object in here. So basically what happens is we determine the brand based on obviously this information over here. So what we want to do is we want to first of all render the logo and then we'll do the background. So logo is quite simple. We need to go into the components and then header index in here. So let's scroll right at the top over here. So before we did logo like that, but what we want to do is now we have access to the brand based on the ENV file. So actually we need to do the env file before anything further goes ahead. So this is quite simple. It's .env and then you make sure you add that into your git ignore, which it should already be. Env is there, so that's fine. So in here, let me just quickly bring in the brand. So let's just do Stylesphere for now and save. And then in our header component, we need to render the logo. So we have access to all of the information in the header now. So let me just quickly. So in the header, we have access to the theme, but we need to destructure that as props. So essentially, we would do it at the top level and then pass it down. So where we're rendering header is in page.tsx over here. Or actually, it's in the layout, isn't it? So that's where we render it. And then in here, we need to pass in the theme is equal to the theme. And now we need to access the theme. So the way we would access the theme is quite simple. First of all, we will do const active brand, and we could do it like that, but we did create a function for this, which was the get active brand function that we created, which basically goes into the ENV and it gets access to the next public brand like that. So that is fine. So in our layout, we have the active brand, and then we want to declare the theme, which is theme equals the brand themes, which is that object we created with the index of the active brand. So go in here. Basically, the index is this. So if it's Bowler's Boutique or if it's Stylesphere, this is the theme object then that we have. So in our case, it's Stylesphere. So if we go into the layout, this should be the brand theme object of the with the key of Stylesphere. So then theme is passed into theme in the header like that. And then in here, we want to get access to the theme object, which essentially is this over here. So we have name, logo, login, background. So we want the logo. So let's destructure that. So const logo. As you can see here, you can get access to all of them, but we just want the logo. And then the theme, we can basically do the type. So header props is what is going to be. And let's declare that now. So this theme over here is going to be a brand theme. So header, actually, this is react.fc of header props. And then let's just declare that over here. We need to import brand theme from our types. And then all we need to do is paste this or import this in. So now we should have the header working. And now if we go in, and this should show the Stylesphere header logo, which it is doing, that's good. And are we importing it in? We're not, it's not even working from there now, you can see. So that is all complete. And then we just need to do the login background image as well. So it's literally the same thing. All we need to do is in our layout, you can see at the top, we don't need to import that. You can see at the top over here in our layout, we have that, which essentially is the brand itself. And actually what I want to do is we want to move this up because the metadata we can use now as well. And the title can be the theme dot name because we now have access to the theme in there. So now the metadata will basically say, this is the theme name. So all we want to do now is go back in the login. In the login page, you can just paste that in here, import get active brand, and then access to the brand themes like that. And essentially, we now have access to this over here. And let me just delete these ones. And what we now want to do is we have this function in the source which says handle login background image. So what we want to do is create this function. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we go into, or actually what we can do is literally just do theme dot login background like that. So now if I save, based on the ENV file, we should have the relevant background. So this is the Stylesphere background. Now what I want to do is change the ENV variable. So this is Bowler's Boutique like that. So now if I save, what will happen is this will now change to Bowler's Boutique. So now as you can see in our local host, it's all changed now. So that has updated. The last thing we need to do is the background colors, as you can see, or the brand colors, should I say. So one's red and one is green. So let's go ahead and do that, which is quite simple as well. So if we go into our layout.tsx, in here, we have access to the theme, which is good. And then all we need to do is to essentially edit this class name. So let me paste this in. And now you can see here, the class name, it says, if theme.name is equal to Bowler's Boutique, or you could use the enum that we created earlier, then it's going to be a BG of red and the text of white. Otherwise, it's going to be green. But this could be extendable, so you could create a function. If you have 3, 4, 5 brands, then you could make that into a function that renders the relevant information. So that's all working. Let's just check that it is working. So now you can see it's red for Bowler's Boutique. The name is Bowler's Boutique at the top there. You can see in the metadata over there. And now let's change the ENV variable to Stylesphere and save. And now you can see it says reload ENV there. And then let me go in here. And now you can see it's changed to Stylesphere there as well. So that is pretty much how you would create a multi-brand site. There is one more thing now, which is we need to deploy it, and they also need to have different URLs. So we will do that next.